What's happening, guys? Shay here. Only been bounced up you guys as well. So it's the IPL Kati Show episode 2. I've got a full house, as you can see. Delighted to be joined by full panel tonight. I've got Anurag Reddy back on the show. Bosho Nuts back, obviously. We've got Krishna, the wild and uncontrollable Aditya Mehta, and we've got Joe on the show for the first time in a little while. Joe Nutsy Nuttall, obviously one half of the County Cricket Podcast. Joe's on here to a little bit insight, especially regarding the English players in the IPL who are not playing and playing tonight or during the last 7 days. So we're going to be covering a few talking points over the last week's IPL. It's been a bit of a mad one. Sunrise, unfortunately, my team I've lost the first 3 games. A bit disappointed. That's why I'm not wearing the shirt tonight. That's how patriotic I am when it comes to Sunrisers. A bit disappointed. But listen, when Moeen Ali is one of the leading players in the tournament, you know it's a bit fucked up, don't you? So I think this IPL edition. So anyway, there we go. Anyway, there goes the monetization gone for this show. Anyway, right, let's crack on, guys. Anyway, so obviously, you've got the game at the moment. It's currently being played. It's a bit of a no-brainer going to win. Chennai versus Rajasthan Royals. Rajasthan getting pummeled. Again, it seems a bit disappointing, really, because I think I'll be supporting them during the second half of the tournament if Sunrise keep losing. But yeah, in fact, does someone want to give us the scorecard currently?
What we're up to? 125 for 7. 18.2 overs.
So 10 balls to go. We're chasing what? 189? So 64
Make that 8. Make that 8. Oh, no, that's a 6. That's fine.
Okay. 6, okay. All right, fine. Well, it was 82 to, was it, 60, 58 to win or something. But anyway, okay, so that's a done deal. Chennai will move equal on points with Mumbai and Delhi tonight, all with second spot. With a leading team being RCB. Surprisingly, RCB are leading the charge, 3 games, 3 wins. Well done to them. We've seen a resurgence of Glenn Maxwell in this competition. I did mention last week that maybe for once being, you could say, almost overshadowed a little bit by the stardom of Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers could be actually assisting him with his performances in this competition. Let's quickly go to his record so far. Second leading run scored, 176 runs in the 3 games at a strike rate of 149, highest score of 78. I'll start with you, Aditya, with RCB. And obviously the resurgence of them in this so far, early stage of the tournament, obviously, only 3 games in. Do you think that their form is down a lot to Maxwell's performances? And do you think that RCB are here to stay in that top 4 for the longevity of the tournament?
First off, we need to give credit to Mike Hesson and Simon Catter's team. I think both of them are astute thinkers of the game. And the structure that they've put in place for RCB has really worked for them. And it was evident even in the performances last season. And this season, they just carried on further. They've gone one better. In addition to Maxwell, I think having Harshal Patel in the team bowl as well as he has been outstanding. He's been a standout performer in the death overs. And Harshal Patel used to play for the RCB even back in, I think, 2014-15, so on. And he wasn't half the bowler then that he is now. So for them to have that trade with Delhi and bring in him was a fantastic decision. In addition to Maxwell, and it's something Maxwell said after the game yesterday, I think, that having AB de Villiers and Dan Christian and Kyle Jamieson down the order eases the pressure on him. Whereas previously he was in that lower middle order and was expected to tee off from ball 1, which he said wasn't exactly his strength. So for him to have the management actually listen to him, push him up the order, and allow him to take his time before he launches is advantageous to him, his confidence, and team performance. If you look at that one season, that standout season that Maxwell had in 2014, as well as I think 2017 was a good season for him as well. He batted in number 3. So clearly there is that pattern where if you push Maxwell in the top 4, then you're likely to get the best out of him. And as I said last time on the show as well, he just seems happier playing with his mates. You know, he gets along with people in the team. He's been friends with Yuzi Chahal for a while. He's been friends with Virat Kohli for a while and AB de Villiers as well. So, you know, I think it's a relaxed environment and it's getting the best out of him. So, yeah, excellent for RCB. And yeah, I do think they're going to make it to the top four. I think this time they've been clinical in the way that they've won games. Back in the day, we could say that a lot of the excitement that an RCB game would bring was great. But this time they're clinical. Everyone's roles specified. They know what they have to do, and they're composed in pressure situations. So kudos to them. I do see them in the top four.
Thanks, DJ. Joe, when it comes to you, Glenn Maxwell, obviously, as a hardcore Lancastrian like yourself, you obviously watched Glenn Maxwell up and close over the past 2 years. Obviously, remember Glenn Maxwell cited some mental issues in the past in terms of his cricket. So, for me, it always indicates a player who has maybe slightly mental fragilities as a person, as a player. Aditya made a very good point, in my opinion, that relates to that. He's playing with his mates. And there's no better, environment to excel if you've got maybe, let's say, some kind of mental frailties, you want to call it that, than playing with your mates. People put your arm on your shoulder and you feel comfortable. Do you think that's one of the main reasons why, Joe, that we've seen Glenn Maxwell perform so well this season as compared to previous seasons with Punjab?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I guess in any sport, in any walk of life, really, you always excel when you're around people. You got, not to say that Maxwell didn't get on with his old teammates, but, these are, as you say, good friends of his. Even if you just have a 9-to-5 office job, you're more likely to enjoy that more if you are with people who you are good friends with, So I guess that kind of goes for any walks of life. And I'll use Lancs as an example because, as you say, I saw him in play pretty much every game for Lancs at Old Trafford and a couple away as well. And obviously, he was coming into the squad. He never met the squad, never met most of the squad before, and really quickly he seems to gel into that squad. And obviously, he was really good for Lancs. He was phenomenal for Lancs with bat and ball, and I think that definitely that's vital. To be playing with your friends. You can put that in a club cricket context on a Saturday afternoon, or you can put it in an IPL context. If you're playing with your friends, it's going to bring out the best in you at some point. So, yeah, I mean that can only help Maxwell, and it's been great to see. As you say, I mean he's bounced around counties a bit, but really he's a Lancs guy. So, or most recently, so yeah, it's great to see him kind of excelling. I mean, I don't have any allegiances to any IPL team, so yeah, I mean, it's great to kind of see Maxwell scoring runs.
Thanks, Joe. I want to move on to an Indian batsman who's done very well so far in this season, and that's Shikhar Dhawan. Obviously, he was dropped from the T20 series, did very well, though, in the ODI series that followed against England not so long ago. Obviously, he's had a very good start to the tournament for Delhi. Anurag, I'll come to you on this one. I think we mentioned in the preview show, I mentioned Manish Pandey. Obviously, I think it's a little bit below Shikhar Dhawan's to thoughts, but Dhawan at 34 years old, he's coming really, you would think, towards the end of his career. Clearly, he doesn't feel that himself. I feel like Dhawan, to me, has always struck me as quite a confident character, very internally, mentally strong. And I think his performances, after being dropped, have showed the kind of his character. Do you feel there's still a lot of gas left in the tank for Shikhar Dhawan at international level?
So, Shay, to be honest, so Dhawan's performances in the IPL were always good. I mean, he always tries to find this new gear whenever the IPL is on. I mean, I won't say he's not good at the international level, but I've seen many situations where he gets bogged down with against good quality bowling. But in the IPL, he at least tries to find one bowler who's weak and he actually goes after him. He finds ways to get those boundaries, so that way the pressure is off on the team. And if you've seen the previous matches, he's been shuffling a lot. He's moving on to the offside a lot. He's trying to target the areas behind square and towards the square leg. So I think that's where he has found a new way to target these bowlers who've been bowling very tight to him. So I think he's been successful as of now. But at the international level, if you see, like I said, the selectors have sent a clear message. I don't need an opener who gives me a strike rate of 120. I need someone who goes blasting off right from the ball one. So probably KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma would do justice to this role. I think Shikhar Dhawan would be the third opener. I don't think he'll be the first choice again in the international level. But with Delhi performing so good and he being very consistent, I think he can survive at this level with good performances like this.
Yeah, 92 of 49 balls yesterday. Fantastic knock for him against Punjab Kings. Krishna, if we come to you on this one, what is your thoughts on Shikhar Dhawan, his performances so far? And obviously, with such a plethora of options in the top 3-4 for India. Do you still see a lot of games from left in the blue shirt for him? Of India, I should say, not Delhi.
Of course, I think Shikhar Dhawan is one of India's best batsmen. If you look at the past, say 8 to 9 years, Shikhar Dhawan has been at the pinnacle for India. So I don't think it's Shikhar Dhawan's last game, or these are the last games we're seeing of Shikhar Dhawan in any format or any way whatsoever. But I do think that Shikhar Dhawan has a lot of competition for his spot, and his T20 spot, not his ODI spot. His T20 spot is very vulnerable at the moment. There are a lot of options. KL Rahul has established himself. Rohit Sharma is there. You have a guy like Ishan Kishan. Virat Kohli himself is now in contention as an opener. So there's a lot of opening choices for India, and I think they'll probably have to sit and think about what exactly is the way forward. But of course, the IPL form, actually, if you look at Shikhar Dhawan, even last year, he got about 500 runs, but two of those were hundreds, right? So, and the rest of the tournament, if you filter those 200s out, not very great. If you look at Shikhar Dhawan. Similarly, this tournament, yes, he started well. He's done very well. He had an innings against Chennai. He had an innings yesterday against Delhi, against Punjab. So he started well. We'll have to see how he carries on in the tournament, whether these 250s or 270, 90 odd innings are outliers in his IPL 2021 season. We'll have to wait and watch. But yeah, I don't think it's the end of Shikhar Dhawan for Indian cricket in any manner.
Okay, thank you there, Krishna. I want to move on to Kolkata and Mr. who they term as Superman. More like Banana Man, in my opinion, the way he plays sometimes. But Sion, I wanted to obviously Andre Russell. There's been some criticism of him recently regarding his fitness and his inability to obviously convert 1-2s, etc., and really relying on his power hitting. Now, obviously, he's done wonders in the IPL. He's been a phenomenal player for Kolkata, but I'm seeing more and more criticism of him, which. Because my personal opinions of him, I'll leave to you, Simon. I think you can demonstrate everything I think. Obviously, he got a cheap fifer against Mumbai, scored 31-20 as well in his last game. But I mean, do you think that Andre Russell basically warrants a defence here, or is the criticism fair of his fitness levels coming into these competitions?
Okay, so before going on to Russell, I would like to point you back to Brendan McCullum, the coach of KKR. So today in the morning in the press, he said that they didn't have any plans for Maxwell because he was not in form last year. Okay, so I think that is one of the main reasons why KKR lost. How can you not go in without planning about someone as big as Maxwell? Okay, now moving on to Russell. Russell has not been fit for the last 2 seasons. He has been hoggling around. Like, his knees are literally gone. And the fifer that he took, if you see, the main wickets were of tail-enders, right? Trent Bolt, Rahul Chahar and others. And, well, he did execute some of the Yorkers, but yesterday he was totally out of line. He bowled, how many? 3 full tosses, if I'm not wrong. He went for 38 runs in 2 overs in the death. That 38 runs was the difference between KKR winning yesterday. And also, I would like to point out that I think his hitting capabilities that he used to have, that he could previously chase around 20 runs an over easily any day, it's not there anymore. I feel he has aged, and to be honest, he's not in his prime anymore. And I think it's finished in one way. But also in his defense, he always gives his 100% for the team no matter what. He's the only player in KKR who will give himself up for the team. So I don't know. I think we should look at him for 5 more matches and then maybe move on to Ben Cutting or Tim Seifert.
Fair enough, Simon. Aditya, I know obviously you're generally the calm, measured person. We'll offer maybe a defence of Andre Russell. I think a lot of the criticism of that, from me in particular, is that he's not really about legacy of the game. It's more pizzazz and the kind of the glamour of the game. My issue is really how he's treated West Indies and how he values his country's colours, but I won't get into too much now. Do you feel the criticism on him? I mean, his fitness. For me, one glaring error of him and it comes down to ego, is his shape, his natural body shape. I remember when he first came onto the scene a few years ago, a long time ago now, he was a lot leaner and thinner, and he seems to be spending more and more time in the gym, which I can tell you will cause undue pressure on your knees. It's a fact. I mean, the guy's 33 years old now. So would it have been smart to lose maybe 5, 6, 7 kgs coming to the tournament, knowing that your knees are under pressure? But every picture I see of him, the guy looks to be around 9800 kgs at 6'2". Surely one of the things you could do to help yourself physically is just cut a bit of timber. You know, maybe ease up on the old whatever he's drinking there. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, and to assist himself. Or is it a simple case that is, is it a case of that's always worked for him in his game, and that this is what we should expect from Andrew Russell, you either like it or don't?
Look, there are so many theories around physical fitness that I guess you have to respect that every individual just thrives on a different sort of fitness regime. And it's hard to comment on that. So when he said at the beginning of the tournament that he's fit to bowl, I guess I'll take his word for it. The question for me is that I don't know how much his batting has evolved. I think teams have figured him out. And if you saw the last IPL, he struggled to play the short ball. That was a tactic that wasn't used particularly effectively against Russell in the 2019 IPL, which is why he was going around smacking like 50 or 17 balls, and in this IPL as well. So I think his batting has been a bit one-dimensional, and much like Chris Gayle, I think I don't think he wants to be bracketed like that. It's important for players to be able to adapt. Versatility is perhaps your biggest USP and your most important USP in cricket. And to have a guy, I think yesterday, the fact that he wasn't rotating strike, five dots of the last over of Mohammad Siraj I think that was quite outrageous. You can understand you may not rotate strike after 1 dot ball, but you let 5 dot balls pass, and then you don't even understand the fact that last season KKR was out of the reckoning because of net run rate is outrageous. You have to be thinking in this format. You have to be thinking beyond the game that you're currently playing. And I don't know whether Owen Morgan and Brendan McCullum will be very happy with that approach. But look, I think Andre Russell, in my view, more than anything, really needs to expand his range. That to me is his biggest concern right now. And if he doesn't do that, then his stock is not going to remain particularly high for too long.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, I'll come back to you to finish the point. I saw you raise your hand there. I mean, do you think maybe Owen Morgan has got a really tough balancing act? They seem to be hiding him a little bit. Obviously, I appreciate he's playing the finisher role at 7, similar to what Chris Morris did at Rajasthan. They want that from him. And obviously, to ball some overs from him, obviously it works out like it did against Mumbai, but not like it did yesterday, as you saw. We saw the kind of the Jekyll and Hyde performance with the ball. What would you do here, Si? Obviously, I just want to obviously come back to you because you mentioned you raised your hand. So if you want to elaborate on this, you can feel free.
So first about the short ball, if you look at 2019 season, his stance used to be this wide when he was going for the shot, right? And if you look at the last 2 seasons, his stance is literally this much, like a close stance, like what a KL Rahul plays. And that is not ideal for him, because if he opens up his stance, he can brace a lot, and then with his balance, he used to pull it out of the park. But nowadays he's not doing that. And also, to elaborate on your point, I feel Morgan and McCullum is hiding him down there somewhere. But I feel if he has to rebuild his confidence, he needs to come at 4 in place of a Shakib. And I think Shakib needs to go out in Wankhede. I think Lockie Ferguson has to come in.
I think he might. I mean, I'll come to you, Joe, on this point to finish up. I actually think he's the opposite of Max on that respect. I think he's very self-assured, and he might actually thrive off the pressure of batting out of the order. Would you agree, Joe, or would you keep him at 7?
Again, it's a try. I feel like Andre Russell's one of them players who, I don't know, my camera's gone, I've lost that. Andre Russell is one of them players who kind of, I don't really know how to put this, he kind of he's a big stage player, isn't he? That's the kind of person he is.
Definitely.
I mean,
is he missing the crowds as well? Is he? That's a good point.
I think that's a lot of it, and I think that kind of showed in the India-England, all three series. I actually raised this point. I think it was on your show. England won the first test. India got smashed on home soil. Put a crowd in. England gets smashed in the next three tests. I think that has a lot to do with it. And I know this is more of a neutral thing because Andre Russell obviously isn't from India, doesn't play for India. His only affiliation is through KKR.
But it's like AB de Villiers, isn't it? AB de Villiers was like an adopted Indian through the IPL. David Warner, etc. These guys who come in,
100%. Yeah, and I think that that definitely has a lot to do, and I think that is a really good point. Actually, how he may be missing the crowd, and a lot of people have kind of said that. A lot of people have said that. Even kind of in England summer last year. I think it was Joffrey who said he'll be up for kind of crowd noise. I think they do that in the IPL now, where they play like crowd noise through the loudspeakers in the ground, which I think personally is a good idea. But let's be honest, it's not the same. It really isn't the same. So yeah, I think that kind of thing. If you have a crowd there having your back, almost like getting you going, almost really for a run chase or for defending. I don't know, 10 off the last over, or whatever scenario it is. If you have a crowd there for every player, it's important. So I think Andre Russell's the kind of player who, he's experienced now. He's 35, Andre Russell? Kind of that age?
33. I think just turned 33, I believe.
So, he's played for years. He's played for years and years. He's very experienced.
His knees are probably 35 at least.
Yeah.
His body.
He's played for years and years. Very experienced player. I'd put him, DJ Bravo, Chris Gale, guys like that, in the same bracket of they thrive off. They're big in the pressure cooker almost. So yeah, I think Andre Russell, I think, will come good. Whether that's at number 7, I don't know. But I guess something like the IPL is so different to other competitions because you have backup overseas players. For example, if this was in England, you're not going to drop Andre Russell because he's your overseas player. And most people will be like, what are you doing that? If Surrey drops one of their overseas players, Jay, in the T20, I'm pretty sure you would be a bit miffed at that, regardless of their performances. But, as Sayan said, they have, for example, Lockie Ferguson could come in for Shakib Al Hassan. That may be a move that they can make. They have reserve overseas or backup overseas players. So, yeah, it is very interesting to see how they go about it. But there are definitely ways they can kind of fit Russell in and make it work. Or, of course, you can just drop them all together and say it didn't work out.
Thanks, Joe. Joe's, by the way, your microphone, it's a bit crackly, just so you know. I don't know if it's...
Yeah, I'm going to try and fix that.
Cool, no worries, mate. Another, a team that's under pressure, a bit of scrutiny, is my team, Sunrisers Hyderabad. I'm going to go over to Anurag for this one. Unfortunately, 3 games, 3 losses, stuck at the bottom of the table. 3 narrow losses, 6 runs, 10 runs, and 13 runs. Very disappointing being able to chase down these totals. Anurag, what is happening over at Sunrisers, in your opinion?
So, Shay, if you ask a layman to watch a Sunrisers match, he'll probably decipher 3 points from it. He'll say the bowling attack is really good. He'll say the opening combination is perfect. And he'll say the middle order sucks. I mean, every team has its loopholes and they have their strengths, but you try to rectify it. But these guys, right from 2018 season, haven't been doing that. If you see the last auction, the owners were literally having cashew nuts and peanuts and not buying any valuable players. They were literally watching others buy great players and just they were idling their time. I mean, the middle order is very bad. You try to rectify it. I mean, it's unfortunate that Kane Williamson is not fit and he's not available, but that doesn't solve your problem. You scout out for good batsmen. You scout for youngsters who could actually play that role for you, but they weren't able to do that. The openers have been giving very good starts, but what are the finishers doing? Just throwing away their wickets. I mean, not playing with composure, and Manish Pandey being such a good player, such a senior player, I mean, he has to take it upon him to finish the game, but he hasn't been doing that. I've always also stressed upon this point that Manish Pandey is not a one-down player. He's more a 3-down player who can actually finish games, because I feel he has those big shots to go with at the end. But when he comes at 1 down, he tries to play them too early and tries to give away his wicket. So I feel if Manish Pandey can shift down, and if they let their youngsters play at 1 down and 2 down, I think that is the recipe for success for the Sunrisers Hyderabad.
Christian, what would you do currently with your Trevor Bayliss? You obviously,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it's not massively panic stations yet. Obviously, they got very close on 3 occasions, but they need to obviously do something with that middle order. Obviously, Kay Williamson, as Alan points out, is injured. They tried obviously numerous plays in that middle order. I mean, is it maybe a chance of Abdul Samad to come up the order? Do you give him an opportunity rather than come at 6 and 7? Do you move Vijay Shankar, dare I say it, Mr. 3D player, to number 3? What do I look at the side as kind of laughing at what you said last week? What does Bayliss want to do to kind of change the fortunes?
There's this one thing on Vijay Shankar. He's a 3-dimensional player who has more dimensions than Andre Russell, who you guys just said is only playing in 1 dimension. So I find that rather funny. But anyways, coming to Sunrisers Hyderabad, I think I actually tend to agree with Anurag there on Manish Pandey. Maybe him coming at 5 is a good idea. The question is who's going to play at 3 and 4, right? I think obviously if Williamson is fit, he plays, but he's not. So
who does he play for?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think he has to come in for Bairstow. I don't see anybody else because they need a Holder or a Nabi there also. But actually, speaking of, and I don't understand why Nabi is playing at 6. I think Nabi is better used at 4. To be completely honest, Nabi at 3 or 4 is a better utility for Sunrisers, and they actually can get more out of Nabi at 3 and 4 than they will get out of him at 6. He's not the kind of guy who can tonk and finish. He's the kind of guy who can build a long innings and play. Maybe a 60 odd, 70 odd. He can give you that kind of an innings. But I feel like Sunrisers have not used him well enough. That's why they're not getting that out of him. But Williamson, of course, if he comes in, he'll have to play. I think, the problem is they've invested in a lot of young Indian talent, in terms of their batting. Virat Singh, they've got guys like Priyam Garg, they've got guys like Abdul Samad, right? They have all these very young talents who have done well in the domestic circuits, which is why they have been backed, but they haven't really translated that to IPL success yet. And I think it's just a matter of time and maybe just a little bit of patience with them. But I think also to an extent, like you said, Abdul Samad, I don't think Abdul Samad should come up the order, because if you look at the times last season when Abdul Samad came up the order, they weren't very fruitful. He is the kind of guy who's a 17 off 8 balls kind of player. He's not the kind of guy like a 30 off 15 kind of guy. He's not the guy who's going to give you a 50. He's not going to give you a 40 off 20 25 ball innings. He's a pinch hitter. He's an out and out pinch hitter. So him coming at 7, I actually wouldn't mind. I don't think that should be changed. I think Abdul Samad is one of the good things in Sunrisers Hyderabad. To be completely honest, he's one of the good things that's working for them. Now, when it comes to, I think the problem is definitely 3, 4, 5, 6, and also I think because 3, 4, 5, 6 is not giving you the solidity and the confidence. Right, David Warner is having to play longer. He's having to not play his natural game of sort of going for the bowlers and just really like aggressively pushing for those singles and doubles. He's not able to play his attacking natural game. He's become a little conservative. He's kind of sort of closed up here and there, right? And Johnny Bairstow is, Johnny Bairstow is the attacking batsman in those two, or the more attacking batsman, the guy who's supposed to go for it more than David Warner. But I don't know. I think yes, Manish Pandey coming down the order at 5 is a solution. Maybe bringing in Kedar Jadhav over Vijay Shankar might help, but I don't know. They seem to back and really love Vijay Shankar a lot, and they seem to really trust him. But I don't get it, because Vijay Shankar has been given a lot of opportunities. He's been given ample opportunities, and he hasn't delivered. Be it CSK, be it Sunrisers, he just hasn't delivered. Even India also. So I don't understand the thinking behind continuing to back Vijay Shankar. They'd be better off playing a Priyam Garg or an Abhishek Sharma.
Aditi, I'll come to you, obviously. I mean, there's obviously 3 people talked about the batting lineup, and it's not fully fixed on what the best top 7 should be, which just shows obviously what kind of question marks been thrown currently. Sunrisers. That always happens obviously when you go off the back of a run of losses. We talked before, I mentioned before about the transfer policy, but you look at it on paper, Vijay Shankar, Manish Pandey, Yadav. You've got experienced Indian players there. Then you've got Virat Singh, Abdul Samad, Priyam Garg. You've got young raw talent. So surely they would have covered this middle order issue by now and kind of sorted these issues out. Obviously, we saw David Warner last season coming in at 5 to patch at middle order when he had issues again there. Could you see a move back down for the captain to the middle order spot? Or would you literally Bailey should go to 2 or 3 of the players and go, listen, you're our guys, 3, 4, 5, you've got 5 games to sort this out. What would you do with ETA?
Whenever Kane Williamson becomes available, he has to be there in that team.
Who for?
Who for? I'd say it's a good question. Vijay Shankar doesn't fit in my view. I think that's unfortunately, and I have to say that I think in the last game he actually batted pretty well. To see him, smack a couple of sixes off mid wicket was quite good to see, and he's bowled relatively well too. But I think in the larger scheme of things, he can't be depended on as a batsman in the team, and they need Kane Williamson in that middle order. So I think you have Warner, Bairstow, Manish Pandey, Williamson, Priyam Garg, and so on. And then you have your Abdul Samad, because I think Priyam Garg.
So no Nabi, no Holder.
That's horses for courses, because that depends.
So Rashid Khan, where does he fit in then? Where's Rashid Khan fit?
Rashid Khan, he plays every game. Simple as that.
So Warner, Rashid Khan, Bairstow, you 3 guys.
Yeah, and Williamson.
Okay. So no Nabi and Holder. So Nabi and Holder are out.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's hard to drop Rashid Khan. Rashid Khan he's that one guy who every time he's in the game, he's making a play as a bowler, he's getting your wicket.
No one drops Rashid
9 out of
Khan.
10 times.
No one drops Rashid Khan. He gets in every team in the world. That's every team in the world. That's a fact.
He's to me a definition of an X Factor player. An X Factor. Yeah. Surely, if you're in trouble, you throw the ball to Rashid Khan. You don't look around and see friggin' Shabazz Nadeem and think, okay, we're okay, lads. Do you know what I mean? So, or Abhishek Sharma. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, sorry, I need to carry on. Apologies, I interrupted you there.
Look, in an ideal world, I'd love to have Nabi in the team. I really like Mohammad Nabi, the player, his temperament, and just the fact that he's an incredible batsman who has the ability to play at a very high strike rate, but he also has the ability to construct an innings. So he's a versatile batsman, and he's a very crafty bowler. If the IPL had a 5 overseas player allowance, Mohammad Nabi would play 14 games every season. He is a fantastic player, and it's unfortunate that he has to sit out a lot of games every season. But in saying that, unfortunately, that all-rounder position, whether it's Holder or whether that's Nabi, that's going to be dictated by conditions and the opposition. Also, it's one of those conundrums that SRH finds itself in with an overseas captain, because you have I don't know, I think it's a bit weird for the balance of the team, where you have your overseas captain, so he can't be dropped, and then you have Rashid Khan as your spinner who plays every single game, and there is too much of a disparity between the quality of the overseas players and the consistency displayed by the Indian players. Had that gap been bridged a little bit, SRH would be a far better team than they are right now.
Simon, Christian, I saw you raise your hand, so quickly if you raise your points on SRH, we'll move on. So Simon, I'll start with you.
So what about a wild thing? Jason Roy is in form right now, right? And there was a match, 1 or 2 matches last year where David Warner came down at number 3 and played a good innings against KKR or MI, someone. So what about opening with Roy and Bairstow and giving them that freedom? Then at 3 you have Warner, and at 4 you have Manish Pandey. Like someone just said, right? That could be a good idea. And stock up your Indian bowling options with Sandeep Sharma, T. Natarajan, and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar.
Krishna?
I think Hyderabad making wholesale changes is not a good idea, because they're not known for making wholesale changes. Their success has been on playing, tenured players, on playing players they've backed for a long time. So I don't think they should make wholesale changes, but of course they need to get that combination right. I think from last game, making 4 changes, bringing in Mujib, I think they're really all in going haywire. So I think They need to figure out what to do.
They made Anurag, 6-7 changes so far in the first 3 games. They made 3 changes in the last game. They're just scrapping around for the right balance. They don't know what it is. A bit disappointing, but is there anything just quickly wrap up, Anurag, on SRH before we quickly move on?
I feel Jason Holder has always to be in that batting order, or even for the bowling. I mean, he's a multi-dimensional player, so he has to offer at least 3 to 4 overs, and he has to hit those huge shots. So he has to be in that lineup. If you ask me for the second format.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you, Anurag. So, Joe, I'll come with you. Obviously, we're seeing English talisman Ben Stokes depart from the tournament with a broken finger. I think good things for English fans, to be honest with you, with the next 8 months, 9 months, obviously the end of the Ashes tour. I've got a couple of questions for you. Would you bring in Liam Livingstone into Rajasthan Royals side? Obviously, we've seen the batting order collapse again for Rajasthan. They've just been pummeled by 45 runs, as I saw now against Chennai, obviously. And would you consider Alex Hales as a replacement?
I mean, I know. Well, firstly, I'll go to Livingston. I would 100% bring him.
Why have you been asking? I know you're going to say.
100% I'd bring him into the team. There's 2 reasons for that. Number one, I think he's a class player and deserves to be in the team. I think David Miller's a good player, but I think Livingston suits the team more. And I know Butler had been batting in the middle order for the Royals. At the end of last season, obviously Stokes had been opening. Livingston can do both. He can open the batting or bat in the middle order. David Miller, I'm pretty sure he may have opened a few times in his career, but it's obviously not a regular thing for him. So I think Livingston offers you a bit more versatility. Obviously, you can get overs out of him as well, just not the death. But yeah, I would say definitely bring Liam Livingston in. Also, it kind of feels like a bit of a kick in the teeth to Lanks that he's not being picked. I mean, that's obviously not his fault. That's nobody's fault. That's the Royals management's decision. But it still feels like a bit of a kick in the teeth to me. You know, we've got a Kati Championship campaign going on, and we made a good start, but Livingston could only bolster that in reality. So yeah, if he was here, that would have been nice. But yeah, I would definitely like to see him play, if only to make Lanks fans feel a bit more or a bit better about him not being here. You know, there's a good reason for him not being here. So yeah, and Alex Hales, I know you're a massive fan of Alex Hales, and I am too. I don't think that the door is shut on him for an England return either. Again, I know you've kind of had a lot of thoughts about this.
Under Owen Morgan?
That's what I was going to say. We talked about this a couple of weeks back about Owen Morgan maybe retiring if England win the World T20. If that happens, obviously there'll be a new captain, whoever that is. That's a whole different debate. But that could be the way Alex Hales gets back into the side, is through Owen Morgan's retirement. So if I was Alex Hales, you know, he's not doing anything at the moment, is he? He's not playing red ball cricket for Notts. He's literally doing nothing. To me, it makes sense. You know, especially if the Royals are looking for an opener, they've got, especially an English opener, because they have obviously a theme of going for English players. You know, if they're looking for another English opener, they've got one ready-made there waiting, who's literally doing nothing. Hales would, of course, jump at the chance. And to me, that can only be a benefit for Hales' career, because he should be doing whatever he can, and he is doing so far, whatever he can to get himself back in the England side. Even if, you know, forget past mistakes, forget everything that's happened. Alex Hales, at the end of the day, is a top-quality cricketer. He had a great big bash. He started the PSL decently, and then obviously that got suspended. If he got a chance in the IPL and took that chance, then again, that can only be a positive for England. So, yeah, as I say, I wouldn't say the door is shut on an Alex Hales return should Owen Morgan leave. But again, I know you feel very opinionated on that shit. So,
yeah, I got my issue. I did a video about Owen Morgan, my mate from Blackburn, actually, not too far from you, man, because you know I'm all mate. But it's just some opinions on Owen Morgan. But I'll obviously we'll leave them aside. Krishna, I know you've always been quite critical of Josh Butler in the past. We've had numerous conversations on this channel about that. Is this a really too much of an outlandish move to consider giving Samson the gloves, dropping Butler to make way for someone like a Livingston? Because the Fizz is actually doing okay. Let's be fair. Jofra Archer, if he somehow gets himself fit again, he's coming in light training at the moment back in England, but he walks into the side. Simple as that. We all know that. But the Fizz is doing okay. So if the Fizz retains his place, is there a possibility would you consider Josh Butler being dropped? He's never really, for me, he's not the same player as he is in England shirt, for Rajasthan. I always wonder. I mean, obviously I know he did very well as 49-35 balls, but even 49-35, it's not an incredible strike rate and befitting of some of his ability. Would you consider dropping Josh Butler, or is that kind of just not fathomable?
I have mixed emotions on this, actually, to be completely honest. I would give. See, the thing is, Butler has been so good for Rajasthan Royals back in 2018 and 19, and not really in 2020, but definitely in 2018 and 19. Like, he carried that Rajasthan Royals team to a playoff in 2018. If you really, I mean, they had almost no one. They didn't have like Jofra Archer was there, but he wasn't really the player he was in 2020, right? They had guys like Darcy Short who were just like around the team. Steve Smith had gone. Ajinkya Rahane was not really contributing much, right? They didn't have a Riyan Parag at the time. So I think for Josh Butler, I would give him some time, maybe about another 6 games or so, to make that call, before making that call of Liam Livingstone or not. But if you want to bring in Liam Livingstone right now, I think your best option is to probably bring him in for David Miller, or who are the 4 foreigners? They got Butler, they got
Chris Morris.
They got Morris. Okay, So they can't drop Morris. They can't drop Mustafizur. I think Mustafizur has been good, so let him play until then. And I think so for them, maybe David Miller is the only spot up for grabs there. But if they want to bring in Liam Livingstone, but I don't know if it's necessary. That's my only thing. I don't know if it's necessary to bring in Liam Livingstone. I think it's just an issue of, I think where they're really lacking is their Indian players like Shivam Dubey and the Riyan Parags. Those guys are not giving them runs. I think, and that's why they're missing out. It's not
even Tewatia.
Even Tewatia. So those are the guys who are the issues. I don't see Butler being that much of an issue when you look at Rajasthan's batting.
Okay, Krishna, I'll stick with you. Obviously, we talked off camera about mentioning that MS Dhoni coming for some criticism. Obviously, he's just turned 40, I believe now. Obviously, it's very much a twilight of his career. He's hiding, in my opinion, batting at 7. What's your thoughts really on Dhoni? Could this? I know it's mentioned about playing one more IPL. Should this really be the end though of MS Dhoni and his legacy?
See, the thing is, obviously, I mean, there's always a cliched saying that a player gets to decide when he wants to retire and how he wants to retire. And, everybody says that very, very graciously and very gladly. And I mean, to an extent, that is true. But also, you have to take into account what is Dhoni's role in the team, right? And what are we supposed to expect from Dhoni? This is a question I've been thinking about all day. What are we supposed to expect from Dhoni? Are we supposed to expect him to just keep behind the stumps and captain the team? And if he comes to bat at 7 and 8, who cares? If he gives us 18 off 17, if he gives us 0 off 2, whatever runs he gives us, we'll take it. But his main job in the team is to keep and captain the side. Is that what he's supposed? Is that all we're supposed to expect of Dhoni? Or are we supposed to expect Dhoni to be the player he was in 2010, 2011, finish games at 7-8? Like, I have been thinking about Dhoni. Okay, when I made my CSK team for this season, I had Dhoni batting at 4. I couldn't see Dhoni batting anywhere lower than 4, to be completely honest, because Dhoni needs his 10 balls, 15 balls. He's not the kind of player. He's not that guy who's gonna, start hitting from ball 5, ball 6. He's not the guy who's gonna hit 24 runs off Dale Steyn in the last over. He's not that guy anymore, and it's better to accept that than to live in a delusion and say, oh, he's still the finisher. He's gonna play at number 7, number 8, and finish it for us. I think it's better to work around with Dhoni at 4 than have Dhoni coming in at 7 and 8. But then again, you have guys like Ambati Rayudu. You have guys like a Robin Uthappa. You have guys like Suresh Raina in there who are playing well at the moment at 4, who can play well at 4. Maybe not Robin Uthappa, but definitely Ambati Rayudu, Suresh Raina, maybe even Cheteshwar Pujara, maybe a Jagadisan also, right? You have guys in there who are probably better suited and maybe are going to give you more than what Dhoni will give you at 4, right? And I think also there is an issue of whether Dhoni confident or not. Is Dhoni confident of playing up the order? Is Dhoni confident of batting? right? At least today we saw glimpses of him when he scored 2 boundaries, but he took so much time to get those 2 boundaries. He was struggling. He was whatever the ball, all the balls he was hitting was just falling right near him. So is Dhoni a liability? I mean, I don't know, but that answer might be yes. And as a CSK fan, it's a painful thing to say, an absolutely painful thing to say. But yeah, I don't know, man. Is if Dhoni, what is Dhoni's future in CSK? I have no idea. I would like him to carry on as a mentor, but as a batsman, as a captain, as a keeper, I really don't know what Dhoni's future is, and maybe it's time we start looking forward. I mean, India's already started looking forward, so I think CSK needs to start looking forward as well.
Yeah, India will have actually moved on, haven't they? I mean, Simon, what's your thoughts on this? Should the season really be the curtains on the glittering career, or do you think there's a few fumes in that car left for one more season?
Okay, firstly, I would like to ask you all, after Dhoni, who do you see as the captain of CSK in the current squad?
You asked this last week, didn't you? I remember this question. I think last week you asked. That's a fair question, that.
That is the thing.
I mean, Anurag Aditya, you guys go.
Anyone.
I'll go with Jadeja.
That's like you're going on experience, right? Yeah, Aditya.
It's a tricky question that I think can be determined after next year's auction. I don't think the current group, unless if Dhoni's out of the team and you have a transition captain for a year, who, in my guess, should be Faf du Plessis. I don't know if there's anyone who's actually ready to captain a franchise team for 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know. I don't see it.
What's Faf du Plessis' age? I guess it's around 33.
He's 33, Faf. He's 33.
36.
Faf is going to be 37 in July.
30.
Yeah.
37 in July.
Oh my, okay.
In the next auction, I don't see him getting retained if Moeen Ali continues with his form.
See, the thing is, I think Aditya makes a differentiation as whether if Faf is a 1-year captain, right? That's the differentiation he makes. If assuming there's no mega auction next year, and assuming you're not able to get Kane Williamson, hopefully Shay, you give him to us. Assuming we're not able to get him, so then your captain would be either Jadeja or Faf, I guess. Yeah.
What about, you mentioned Kane Williamson there, and again, I'm not super clued up on the IPL auction and stuff like that, but what about someone like Joe Root? If he put himself in the auction, would you take him at CSK as a captain as well?
Joe Root?
Like yeah, he's what, 30? So he's got 3 years?
It's 31 December, yeah.
There is a reluctance tactically to have an overseas captain, because
they're not always guaranteed to be there.
Sorry?
They're not always guaranteed to be there.
No, not about that. They take up one slot, right?
See, there are 4 overseas players in every team. So you have one of them that's captain, assuming they're not performing with bat or ball. Then that's an issue. The other thing is, and one that's not spoken about a lot, is that in the Indian domestic setup, when an overseas player comes in, you don't actually, because they're not entirely clued in with Indian domestic cricket, they don't know how to use domestic players. So, for example, in 2017, when there was that 2-year suspension where the Chennai Super Kings weren't playing, and a lot of that team became the rising Pune Super Giants, Steve Smith was appointed captain of that team. But in an interview that one of the players of that team did recently, said that Steve Smith didn't have a clue of how to use the Indian domestic players. The reason that they got to the finals and they lost by 1 run, I think, was entirely down to MS Dhoni. Steve, like the entire decision making in that team was down to Dhoni, and that to me is where I think David Warner has been brilliant as captain of SRH, but he's got a fantastic support staff in VVS Lakshman, who really understands the domestic circle well, and he's part of that think tank, and it helps Warner. But I think generally, I don't see that being used unless there's absolutely no choice for a team. With Chennai, it's hard to say how they go, but Dhoni being the guy he is will have figured it out, and we'll have to see. But I don't know, with Jadeja, there's batting and bowling responsibilities to have him as captain. That's a bit difficult, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question would be.
And
It's a big question.
now, completing my point, I don't think Dhoni is confident as a batsman right now. Like I think the last match he played before this IPL was his last IPL match. Right, he had not got any domestic under his belt. Even Robin Uthappa played, but Dhoni didn't play. He doesn't have that confidence, and he won't have it in the next 11 matches or whatever is left of this IPL for CSK. And I don't think he's coming off the order. In an ideal situation, he should be batting at 4, as Krishna said, but he will come at 7, or even he might demote himself to 8 or 9. We might see Shardul Thakur coming before him.
We got a couple of points there, guys, from Pranav. Thank you, Pranav, for getting a few questions here. So, obviously, I know Christian, obviously, you're mate here, but all live in the States, I believe. But yeah, we can just make some good points, I thought. Trying to show a bit of differentiation. Curran, I agree with that personally. I think Jadeja, what, 32 now? He's long in the tooth.
Yeah.
You know, he's at that point now. He should really be one of the mainstays on the side. And I think the shout for him captain as well is a fair one, personally. And then he's mentioned about how Warner looked using Natarajan. But and I think so just and Pranav's aside to the fact there's definitely a mega auction next year, because I think Christian, you said that there might be, if there is going to be one. My understanding was that there is going to be a mega auction in 2022. So it'll be interesting to see how things go. And I think it's like Kate Williamson, unfortunately, will leave Sunrisers. I think almost certain. Just can't blame the guy. But yeah. Just quickly before we go, I just want to do quickly, just round the room, winners and losers. Appreciate, Joe, you've been quite busy. I haven't seen that much of the IPL this week. But if you, so maybe if you don't have to answer the question. But I just want to do winners and losers for you four in particular for the past 7 days.
I can do English winners and losers if you would like.
Yeah, cool, mate. Yeah, good. I mean, I'll start, obviously, you, Anurag, and work around the room. Winners and losers for the week, Anurag.
So for winners, I'll go with Moeen Ali. And losers would be, I can't get any name. I'll pass on.
If you think of one, just let us know. Sion?
Okay, so loser firstly would be Owen Morgan and Shakib Al Hasan for me. And winner would be Glenn Maxwell and Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli as a captain of the player.
Krishna?
Glenn Maxwell, a winner. Moeen Ali is a winner as well. Deepak Chahar, Chetan Sakaria, Harshal Patel, and Mumbai Indians, just their spirit, I think. Yeah, that I would say are winners. Losers, Owen Morgan, of course. Sanju Samson, I'd say. And the entire SRH think tank.
Aditya, winners and losers for the week?
Winners, Mad Max, Glenn Maxwell, Spider-Man, A.B. de Villiers, Kyron Pollard. Kyron Pollard is the winner. Deepak Chahar, agree with Krishna there. Moeen Ali as well. And Ravi Jadeja. Fantastic, 4 catches today. Losers, Sanju Samson, number 1, and KL Rahul, unfortunately.
Okay, it's okay. Joe?
So I was doing this play. So winners got to be Moeen Ali. Losers, actually Chris Wokes I'll put as a winner as well. I know he's a bit expensive, but has been bowling very well. And losers I will put actually Bairstow as well in the winners. Got to include Bairstow. And losers I'll go Josh Butler and Liam Livingston.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. I just wanted, before we go, and we actually let us know where you guys, we can find you guys. I was on Netflix the other day, right? And I saw this movie with Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan, right? 2001. And my wife said to me, it's a very famous movie, and I can't remember the name of it. It's like
Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham.
That's the one, yeah. Kabhi Kuchi, yeah, that movie, right?
Yeah.
Right. This is the guy. I remember how you say. So there's this famous movie called Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, isn't it? That was a famous one, isn't it?
Shit, can you not say that?
You're murdering Hindi.
That's
No,
that's what it's called, isn't it? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Shay, you're doing better than me. You're doing better than me, so it's fine.
Yeah, Cooch, innit? Cooch. Right, that one, right?
Yes, let's
That's
go.
a musical,
Come on, yes.
like a musical. Listen, I only know Slumdog Millionaire, man. That's all I know. Slumdog Millionaire. That was a great movie. I think I've seen Lagan as well. And I thought to myself, as a bit trivia every week, I'm going to ask you guys. Obviously, Joe's not chance. I'm asking him as well, but maybe he might be English. Your favorite something to do with Indian culture. So I'm going to ask this week about movies. So I'm going to say, like, what's it called? What's it called again? That one? Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan?
Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. You can call it K3G. That works as well.
K3G. I'll call it K3G. Right. That movie, Sire, I don't think you were even born then, mate. I don't think you were even born then, because that was like 2001, a long time ago, right? And I said, like, that
probably would have
movie.
been.
Yeah, 1 year late.
Yeah, 2002. Joe, when you born?
New Year's Eve of 2001. So.
Okay, right, there you go. Okay, so wait, say. So I was thinking that movie must have been massive. And my wife said to me, "No, it's a good movie. It's about the car system or something, like, you know, like the guy, the brother disowns him or something for getting with a chick that's, I don't know, like a different cast and all that." So I thought, okay, and I thought, let me ask you guys about what's your favorite Bollywood film, because because you're on Netflix now, you got like a foreign section. Have you noticed that? They got a foreign section there, and there's loads of movies. Now I study film. And so I like foreign cinema. I've watched that many. I've seen like Mother India and stuff like that, you know, like older Indian films. But like I haven't seen that much Bollywood. So Lagan's probably extent to my knowledge. But I thought, let me ask you guys this week. Every week I'll pull something else about Indian culture, what your favorite something is. So what is your favorite Bollywood film that you recommend? Now, Joe, I appreciate you might not know that much about Bollywood flicks. Maybe like me, like Lagan.
I couldn't name you one. I couldn't name you one.
Well, now you know KG3.
But I'll go with that then.
Right, so you know one in it.
Yeah.
K3, whatever it's called, man.
I'll go for that.
Kabi Kuchi Kat. I can't. Hey, fuck, man. Hey, I need to fuck.
Not the second word. Not the second word, mate.
Kabi Kuchi. What's the word? Hey, fuck, man. Hey, man.
By the way, Kabi Kushi fuck man is what we call it back here in Bangalore. So yeah.
You know, I've already sworn. I'd say people, you know, mispronounce. I shouldn't really say this, but I will say it. You know, Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
You know, mistranslation. You know, Brokeback recently the movie Jake Gyllenhaal 2005, Heath Ledger, right? Brokeback Mountain in Turkey was called Faggot Cowboys. I swear to God, that's what it was called in Turkey. They called it Faggot Cowboys. That's the title of it. That's what they did. I haven't butchered the name that bad, Krishna, to say that. You know what I mean? But I know what you're saying, man. Mistranslations can somehow come off pretty bad. So I will rehearse that title for next week. All right? Kabi Kuchi. Anyway, right. Quickly, because actually, genuine question. I actually want to get your opinions on your favorite Bollywood flick. Joe, what's your favorite movie? And all right, we'll start with you, mate.
So I'd probably say my favorite movie was Dil Chahta Hai. So it means what your heart wants. So it's a lovely movie. I'd recommend you watch it.
Is that new?
No, it's very good. Probably
2001.
2000 Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. DT, check a DT out. He's a little cinephiles, weren't it? That was cricket. Anyway, we'll get to it in a second. Sign, what's your? Don't sound like Doom or something. Sign, Doom. What's that guy's name? Hrithik Roshan. Is that Doom?
Yeah, actually, that one's my favorite. Doom 2. That one's
Really?
quite good. Yeah, it's quite good. Like,
Doom
you just
2.
need to keep your brain outside and then watch it. It's great.
Yeah, but that's like Fast and Furious. They're good fun. It's good fun, isn't it?
Fast and Furious before it went berserk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just a nuts, that, man. I'd love to be in the writing room, Fast and Furious. How much mad shit can we do in one movie? Krishna, I'll come to you. Obviously, you're the arts man here.
Okay. Mine actually is a very niche take. It's Wake Up Sid. That's my favorite Hindi movie of all time. Yeah.
Wake Up Sid. Okay. Aditya?
Very difficult question for me to answer. I can
Just
tell
be
you
famous, if you want. Okay.
I can tell you one in every genre actually, but okay. I think if you're looking for, like a slice of life kind of movie, I'd go for Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. I can put it up there in the comment
Please,
section.
you don't mind, yeah. In fact, would you mind putting in the comment section, guys? Just you write down the films, especially us, DT, because I'll never have a chance remembering that.
Yeah,
Wake Up Sid, I can remember Wake Up Sid. Doom 2, I know Doom. There we go. Right, let's get some comments coming through. And DT, anything else?
There are so many, man. I thrive on Bollywood.
Oh, is it? You're a big Bollywood fan?
Amazing. Yeah, huge. And a large part of me is because I worked in rural India for a year. In like really low resource settings. So, a part of me understands the vibe of like, proper, musical, high voltage dialogues and drama and things like that. I'm like, oh, this is it. This is it. So I love gangster films as well. If you really want to watch a good political drama, there's a film called Rajniti. Very good, top class stuff. If you want to watch, a good action, like with patriotic flavor to it, watch Uri, Surgical Strike. Outstanding movie. It's plenty, man.
And also check out Race 3, man. That's a great one. I'm typing it down there.
You being sadistic here.
I did put that on, man. Do you know a TV show called Mahabharat from the 80s?
Yeah.
My mom used to have that on VHS. I remember that. She got from my auntie something in London. That was crazy, that, man. I remember seeing one time a Hindi movie, or Indian movie, a horror movie. It was terrifying. It was set in a cave about a crazy woman. It's just like, because these low budget, you've got to be creative in it. Or something, you know what?
Horror movie, terrifying Indian.
It was terrifying. Well, I was a kid, so I guess that's probably why I was so scared. 9 years old. So anyway,
hey, dude, I was scared of Bhootnath, man, when I was a kid. So it's fine.
What?
sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, so yeah, Joe. Hopefully you'll tell me something that I know and a movie that
Honestly, none of that's meant anything to me. I've just my favorite. To be honest, I don't really watch movies. As a kid, I used to have Narnia.
Oh yeah, Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
Recently, tell me if like
honestly, I don't watch movies. I don't watch.
What TV show?
How to Get Away with Murder. That is a class TV show. You're not watching
that with Taraji P. Henson on Netflix.
No. It's with what's she called?
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis.
Sorry, Viola Davis. Apologies. Yeah.
That is a very, very good series. I prefer series to films. I don't know.
Yeah, I started watching something called Yellowstone with Kevin Costner, guy Taylor Sheridan. It done like Sicario and stuff like that. He's really good. But that's news show out. Right. Okay. So yeah, I've seen what was I saying? You know the trilogy Fire, Earth, Water. You seen that in it? Fire, Earth, Water. Have you seen Monsoon Wedding? That's another one. You seen Monsoon Wedding? You ever seen Monsoon Wedding?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I mean,
you seen Monsoon Wedding? Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I obviously know of it.
Yeah, 2001. Marinera, I think, did that one. Anyway, I just want to know your opinions on what good Bollywood films, because I saw that, but let me ask you guys on the show at the end of it. So next week, I'm going to ask something else, like another part of Indian culture. I'm going to ask you guys. So it could be anything. It could be food. It could be your favorite actors, actresses, anything to do with Indian culture. I'm going to ask every week for this IPL series. I'm going to ask you something every week. And Joe, if you come back on, I'm going to ask you the same thing, but obviously probably English counterpart. Anyway, before we go. So just wrap it up here. So guys, where can we find you? As always ask. I'll start with you.
Hey guys, so you can find me on Facebook as Anurag Reddy and on Twitter as The Obvious Madrid.
Sign?
So you can find me on Instagram at Bust Your Nut.
Are you on Twitter, Sign?
Not actually. I'm there, but then it's for fanboying around cricket and stuff. So if you follow me, it's of no use, to be honest.
No, fair enough. All right, Krishna?
My Instagram handle, right there. I get this wrong all the time. Okay. Krishna _Kalki, on YouTube as Krishna Kalki, on Facebook at Krishna the Kalk. And I'm also on Spotify You can find my music there. I just released a single called In Space and Time, so please check that out.
Oh,
and
nice.
I just want to get to Pranav's question. He asked about where's Shiki Boy in the winners and losers list. I didn't put Shikhar in my winners list because I need to see some more. I need to see some consistency in terms of his runs. I don't think he's a winner yet. So
Fair enough. Aditya?
Aditya Mehta, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and Aditya Mehta on Facebook. Yeah, I'm also on Fanatics Magazine, so check out the channel and the website as well.
Thank you, Aditya. Sign, did you raise your hand?
Yeah. So actually, one winner we missed out was Mohammad Siraj. How brilliant has that guy been after the Australian tour?
Phenomenal.
He has an economy of 5.88 only, I guess.
I don't think I've seen a more fluent ball at the crease for some time. Dale Steyn always wowed me with his fluency. There's very little change in the run up to the bowling action. It's all one motion. And Mohammad Siraj reminds me exactly that kind of bowler. The fluency and the rhythm that he's able to generate. To me, it's wonderful to watch. Really is. Someone compared to like a Sean Tate, who just stops. It's all in the shoulder. It's very jerky. But see, it's just poetry in motion. I know it's a massive cliche, but to watch Siraj just like glide in, and it's all like one movement. I just think I just love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, spot on time for mentioning Siraj. I think he's been fantastic, and I like his attitude as well. He's got some nuts about him. That guy, I really like that. You know, he's a ballsy cricketer. So yeah, fair play to him. Joe, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Nutsy99 and on Instagram at 99Nutsy. I always get them the wrong way around. So yeah.
And what else? Anything else?
Oh yeah, and my podcast as well. My joint podcast, the Kati Cricket Podcast. Yeah, that's wherever you listen to your podcast, it'll probably be on there. So yeah,
I will ask you one question, Joe, before we go. How can we not talk about it? I just want a yes/no answer, and that's the European Super League. Yes or no?
No.
Fair enough.
No, hell no.
Are we all saying no to the ESL?
Yep, no.
Very interesting times ahead for European football. Let's just say that. God,
also
anyway.
to the 100.
You guys have probably nicked that too and just make it way better in about 10 years.
Everyone will be playing 100 cricket.
Exactly,
Everyone will be playing 100 cricket.
We'll be doing the 100 Kati show in about 5 years' time, probably, but a way better version. God. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much again. I hope you didn't mind me kind of tailing off a little bit. I love talking about movies as well, so I appreciate you indulging me and giving me some recommendations next 7 days. Got a decent amount of movie watching to catch up with, it seems. Thanks a lot, guys. This has been the IPL Kati Show, episode 2. Join us again next week for episode 3. We'll be catching up, the latest in the IPL for the past 7 days. Take care. Have a good week all. And, catch you again soon. Thank you.
Bye.